together, partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. It's a partnership. You, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way, we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me. Because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
in Ankeny on Ore Labor. So, you can always come out and join us every week when we do this. But, of course, Christmas, can you believe it? Christmas is just, what is this, 4 days away, 5 days away, 6 days away?
It's
it's too
Tuesday,
close.
right?
Have you,
Tuesday,
have,
right?
have you bought all your Christmas presents?
Well, no, because Christmas is Tuesday, so that means I can start my shopping Saturday,
On Monday?
right? No, Saturday. You always want at least 3 days of shopping before. No.
Or 24 hours. It just depends on how that works.
No, I've got some of it done, and then I kind of, but wow, I'm at the point where get things for my kids, and my wife and I, we don't get each other as much because we do stuff throughout the year, so.
Of course, we got a great show lined up for you again this week. We'll have the play of the week a little later on. Dar also going to be chatting with the Waukee wrestling coach, and so much more to come this week on CISN.TV. And as we were talking, Christmas, and then it's going to be New Year's. And as we're getting in, as we've been talking over the past few weeks, kind of like that first part of the season, how are the boys looking in basketball?
Good. Interesting matchup the other night, Waukee and Valley. The Valley boys took it right down to the wire, and they had the ball with, I think, 13 seconds to go, hit a three that cut it to one, but the clock then ran out on them, and Waukee played a great game there. It was a really good matchup between the boys there, and Waukee, I believe, is top rated this week, so, on the boys' side, I didn't see any super big upsets out there that I know of, just looking through the scores and that, but, it's interesting as we head into the Christmas break.
Right, and then, of course, you'll be going through the rankings a little later on in the show. Going on with the boys, kind of like looking at over last week. How about the girls? How are the girls shaping up for basketball right now?
Girls, a little bit of a surprise in that first half of that doubleheader where Waukee came out and just handled Valley easily. Valley came out shooting a little cold on the road, and Waukee just boom, took it over and never let him get in the game, and ended up being a pretty big win there. So the new poll comes out tomorrow for the girls, and again, we're going to see some shakeups in the poll there, which we talked about it. You're probably going to see that throughout the season here, as these teams are so close for the most part, and that's what was a little bit unusual about that win. It ended up being 61-29, and a 40-point range between the teams there is unusual, but it can happen, though, at a night where you get off to a slow start in that. So, just a lot of what we expected back and forth in the early going in the girls' season here, too.
And you can see most of these games right here on CISN.TV. And now something else, I know you were talking about Waukee, but then last night, I know on CISN we had the Dowling and Ankeny Centennial, which I know the girls, it was two different games. Well, it was two different games, but just the way both of them played.
Yeah, and Centennial won that one, and they're one of those teams too that we talked about early. Valley beat them, but they're going to grow and get better as you go along, and that's the whole thing. Dowling obviously has a lot of talent there, one of the best players in the state, and the other talent to go with her. So, there'll be some adjustments made in the interim here at the holiday break, and then it's kind of that race to the end from in January into February till we head to the state tournament. And then, of course, state tournament games we'll do here on CISN.TV.
Yeah, you can catch all that action right here. And, I mean, again, as I was talking, two different ones is what happened with the girls last night with Dowling then compared to what happened with the boys.
Yeah. And there's I've seen a little bit of that, teams at different, I think Dowling is kind of rebuilding a little bit there. And Southeast Polk's another example where the boys, they have a lot of young players in that team, a first-year coach for the boys in Southeast Polk, where the girls, they were rated number 1 at one point. They'll probably move up in the ratings a little bit this week too, so there's always that, sometimes you have both teams are good. It just depends on how the classes go, It
was kind of funny because I was talking with a friend of mine after the game with when they got the doubleheader done yesterday, and they were saying they were kind of adding up the point difference between the girls and adding up the point difference between the boys. They go, I think it was a wash. Is what they were saying for Dowling.
when it comes out, yeah,
it all washes out in the end, right?
But it doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't play that way. And then the thing is, a 20-point win or a 1-point win, it's all the same. Like,
right, a win's a win, right?
Lucky Boys got a 1-point win, and they're just as happy as if that was a 20-point win.
Absolutely.
Or 40 that the girls got. So you want to win, and of course this time of the season, coaches will say it over and over, and it sounds cliche. We just want to keep getting better,
right?
But they do, and that's what they're working for, is to get better, work on their things, and sometimes you have to overcome some injuries and work on that. And we've seen a little bit of that early going too. So, there's a lot to work on in the first part of this season.
Absolutely. And like you said, we're going to go into that 2-week break that they're going to have and then kind of see how they regroup and come back after the first of the year.
Yep, and then
and then of course looking at the basketball for boys and girls, wrestling. How are things shaping up with wrestling so far this season?
Well, wrestling, Southeast Polk is kind of stuck the flag out there. They've been of course a traditional power in this area and in the state competition, and they had a big win over Waukee in that meet that you saw on CISN.TV, and we're going to see them again. Valley. At Valley, I believe, is Waukee is on Thursday night, tomorrow night, right here on CISN.TV. So, Southeast Polk, Waverly Shell Rock out of Northeast Iowa, Fort Dodge, Waukee rated number 4, Valley, Centennial right in there. So, a lot of Central Iowa teams there. But right now, Southeast Polk appears to be the team to go after, the one that's the front runner at this point.
It's always that one team that you kind of like pick out of the crowd and go, that's who we need to go after. That's who we need to beat. And that seems to be the one that they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and the coach, we'll talk with him a little bit about it. Wrestling's another one of those sports where it's a team sport, but you wrestle individually,
Right, absolutely.
It's a team sport, but you play individually in a way too, kind of like track and some of the other sports.
Right, you're getting your points individually, but then they put that all together at the end to find out who actually came out and took the match.
And then, too, when you get into the state tournament, you don't necessarily have to win the title to help your team. You have to go as far as you can go, rack up as many points as you can go to. And so that, there's a whole another dynamic with that and how that works out in wrestling. And coaches more of how they, who they put in where, who's the best at this weight and that. And I think some of that has changed a little bit with the rules. And, back in my day in high school, of course, a lot of cutting weight and guys running around in rubber suits trying to do that, and they've tried to get away from that, make it safer and make it easier on the athletes that way. And we've seen that change. And then, so, yeah, wrestling right now, like we say, Southeast Polk right out there, they're the one to shoot for at this point.
Absolutely. So, again, still a lot more to come this week on CISN.TV. Dar, we'll be having an interview with the Waukee coach a little later and then going over the rankings as well. And then we've got the play of the week. That's going to be with Flint Heald. We'll be going over that. And remember, if you have a play of the week to share with us, you want to do that on Facebook and Twitter at CISN.TV. So we're going to be right back right here at Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Orlabor this week on CISN.TV. I'm Jimmy Olsen.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. Or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
This week on CISN.TV, Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny and Orlabor. That is where we are. I'm Jimmy Olsen with Flynn Heald, and it's time for that play of the week. And as I mentioned earlier, if you think you have the play of the week, share that with us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can do that at CISN.TV. You can direct message it to us or just tag us. That way we can do it, and it might be your play that you see right here on This Week on CISN.TV. Flynn, what do we have for the play this week?
We got another one of those buzzer beaters coming up, so let's go ahead and let's watch this play. So here we have Jackie Cleve of Martin St. Mary, down 2 points with 5 seconds left on the clock. Gets the shot up. Bang, count it. There's the win. Martin St. Mary's gets the dub.
And thanks to Skylar41 for sharing that with us. So it could be your play of the week that you can see right here on This Week on CISN.TV. Share that with us on Facebook or Twitter at CISN.TV. We're going to have another one next week. And then, of course, Flynn going to be talking a little health and different things coming up, too, on the show as well. So, again, from Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Orlabor, I'm Jimmy Olsen on CISN.TV.
Year-end closeout event at Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee means employee pricing for everyone. Buy like a Chevy employee in Waukee. Employee pricing on all 2018s. 28% off new 18 Silverado 1500 Crew Cabs. 20% off 18 and 19 Sonic and Spark and 18 Impala. Used vehicle buyer on hand, paying top dollar for your trade. Employee pricing for everyone. Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. You may have noticed it's starting to get cold outside, and if you're like a lot of folks, that old fireplace in your house isn't doing you much good. You need to replace that thing with a high-efficient gas fireplace from Heat and Glow. We're going to come in, take your old wood or gas fireplace out. We're going to replace it with a warm, cozy, high-efficient, easy-to-use fireplace from Heat and Glow. It'll be the best thing you ever did to your house. Come see us today, because nothing's better than a warm fire on a cold day.
Welcome back to CISN TV this week. Dar Danielson with you here, and joining me is Waukee head wrestling coach Chad Womack. And thanks for joining us, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
And season underway here, heading toward the holiday break. But let's talk a little bit about this first part of the season. I know you had a rough match up there with Southeast Polk, but what
Everybody
did you learn?
wants to talk about that.
Well, you learned from that, either good or bad. What
we
did you
learned
take
a lot.
away from that?
Well, we learned that our scheduling was poorly decided upon, coming off of the Council Bluffs 2-day tournament, turning around, trying to get the guys ready for a Tuesday duel of that of that caliber was poor decision making. That duel gets scheduled the first week of January every year, but they go to the Cheesehead, and this year we're going to the Clash, so we couldn't do it on that date. And so as we looked around, I guess I overestimated our ability to get our guys physically prepared to come in that quickly. So it's a bad choice on my part.
So coming out of that now, looking forward, how do you feel about your guys? You have, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ranked in there, and one ranked number 1, one number 2 in the spot. And if you look at that bunch, or I know probably the guys do a little bit, but those rankings probably don't mean a lot to you, do they?
No, I mean, it's just a number. You know, we've got guys who aren't ranked who have high goals, and the guys who are ranked have goals higher than their ranking. They showed a lot of resiliency coming off of that Southeast Polk matchup to compete really well against Marshalltown, and then to turn around, 2 days later on Saturday and win 5 duels. That's just an example of how hard they're willing to work for those goals. So we look at the rankings, we appreciate the rankings, but they're just another number on our way to try to reach our goals in February.
So what is your goal right now as you look toward that February? Is it getting in condition? Is it working on technique? What kind of things you stress right at this point in the year?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Cale Sanderson will tell you that when you compete a lot, you try to peak every time while still trying to peak at the end of the season. So we're trying to put together great performances while staying in shape and improving at different situations so that we can compete better every time we wrestle.
Now, when you we were talking about this, wrestling, again, one of those sports where it's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport.
Right.
And how do you talk about that with the guys and the philosophy of, because, of course, every guy that goes out there wants to win, but then there's also the team thing. And how do you meld that in together?
Well, our guys care a lot about each other in every facet of the sport. So they train well together. They push each other. They hold each other accountable. And the last thing we tell them before we wrestle is we want to take everything from our opponent and give them nothing. And that's in reference to bonus points and things like that. In dual meets, bonus points mean a little more than they do in tournaments. A tournament team can have a few great individuals. A dual team has to have a lot of great individuals. So if we live by the philosophy that we want to put together our best performance all the time, take everything we can from our opponent and give them very little, we're going to be successful in both facets, in the individual and the team. So we just keep moving forward, trying to score points.
And that's kind of contagious, isn't it? If the first guy in the match out there and he goes at it and gives everything, leaves it all out there, the next guy doesn't want to let him down. They're going to come out and kind of do the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, that happens, and that's something that we try to rely on, but we don't want to rely on it 100%. We got to be able to stop negative momentum, which we didn't do a great job of that last week against Southeast Polk, but we also want to be able to feed off of emotion. When you care about each other the way our program does and our team does, momentum helps, but it's not absolutely necessary. They're going to give their best each time they have an opportunity to for their brothers on the team.
So where do you see your strengths right now in the lineup?
Well, we've got good leadership from Anthony Zach. Obviously, he goes out there and he hammers on people all the time. Cody works hard. Nick Miller's got great experience. And then our young guys are also, they feed off of that, and then they try to produce good results.
Okay. We're talking with Waukee head wrestling coach Chad Vilbenke. We're going to take a break here. We'll come back, talk a little bit more with the coach, and that's coming up after this on CISN.TV.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
MidAmerican Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Back here live at the Thunderhead in Ankeny, Dar Danielson with you on CISN.TV, and Waukee head coach Chad Vilbenke is with me. And I know what you do, the final product is these varsity wrestlers, but it starts a much lower level than that. A good program starts in elementary and works its way up. And how much input or how much work do you do with that part of the progress at Waukee?
Not as much anymore. I help organize it and make sure we have great coaches, which we have in the right spots in that program. Like every other program, too, we've got a lot of kids who are involved in outside clubs aside from our youth program. So it's really like a puzzle of different pieces that fit together for awesomeness in the end when they get to high school.
So, yeah. And then because you kind of have to start them young and get them into it and get them working on it and move it up and you build for the good base, don't you?
Yeah. Sometimes, Anthony, gosh, we've been coaching him since he was in kindergarten, first, second grade. I don't even remember, but it's been a really long time. And he's come up through the ranks. Then we have kids like Cody Anderson, who's wrestled his whole life. Thurman Christensen, Connor Kelly, those young guys have been wrestling forever. And then we got guys like Nick Miller, who really started getting committed in middle school. Our bigger guys just started in middle school, and they're helping us a ton. So the recipe is, you wrestle for a long time, but also if you surround kids who are new to the sport with great coaches like I've been blessed with on my staff, we're able to get those kids up to speed quick too.
Let's talk a little bit about you when you're not coaching wrestling and doing that. What do you like to do? What kind of things you do to kind of get away from it a little bit and relax?
I don't know that I ever get away from it much, but I do help out with football in the fall.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun, and there's a nice connection to football kids coming out and wrestling. Right. I'm a strength coach at the high school as well, so I do stuff in the weight room. My family and I've got two kids, Isaac and Drew, who are in freshmen in 7th grade, and we like to travel when we can, try to find an ocean somewhere.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
and then
we like to do that.
What are they? They both, you say, in sports. What do they do?
My daughter plays volleyball and basketball. My son, right now in 7th grade, you can do whatever. So he comes to wrestling practices just because he knows I like it when he does that. But he likes to play basketball. I think baseball is probably his favorite sport. He's a social guy.
Okay, before we wrap it up here, what do you want to see as you come back from the break and finish out stronger heading toward the tournament?
I want to see guys with weight control, able to get back to the weight class they're supposed to get into, and just a focus where we can get a good head of steam and drive into February and have a lot of fun like we did last year.
So take it a little easy on the Christmas goodies is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Well, appreciate you joining us here tonight, Coach.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you throughout the rest of the year, and hope to see you at Wells Fargo there again, huh?
That's the plan. Thank you very much.
All right. That's head coach Chad Vilmecki of the Waukee Wrestling Program. We're going to take a break. Be back with more after this on CISN.TV.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules. They're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology. Our focus is your good health.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Welcome back to Central Iowa Sports Network TV. Today we sit down and have a conversation with Anthony Zach, Waukee wrestler. Anthony, thank you for joining us, bud.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so a little bit about Anthony. For those of you who are unaware, Anthony is a senior at Waukee. He is the 10th nationally ranked wrestler on open mat. He's wrestling at 170 pounds, currently at Waukee, committed to Northern Illinois, and last year's state runner-up. So let's go ahead and we'll start right there. Coming off a season, where you finished as a runner-up, what was your approach this offseason to get better and ultimately, perform well on the mat coming up this year?
Yeah, so I knew I didn't really get what I wanted last year. I was there to win the state tournament, so I was really driven to keep training. I was training really hard with all my coaches, and I was just trying to get in the practice room as much as I possibly could, just to make sure I didn't have that same thing happen again.
Right, yeah. And it obviously wasn't. It obviously was a successful offseason. You did commit to Northern Illinois. Explain that process to the people. Why was that the right fit for you? Why'd you commit there?
Yeah, so on my visit there, I really enjoyed the coaches, the wrestlers, the academic side of everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really did come down to them and Nebraska. So, I just really saw myself fitting in there.
You think it was what out of those three? The staff, obviously the athletic facilities themselves, and then the teammates. What was the big standout for you? What was the separation from Nebraska and Northern Illinois?
I really felt like the coaches really believed in me and just everything that they were saying to me, and they just believed that I was able to do whatever I set my mind to.
Yeah, and and that's the thing about wrestling is college, there's the Olympics after that, but other than that, there's not really an avenue for professional wrestling in terms of making the big money. A lot of guys transition over to MMA. Explain to the people out there watching or who aren't very familiar, why do wrestlers have such an easy transition to MMA, and would it be something you'd be considering down the line?
Yeah, so I watched some UFC, and I noticed most of the guys that are dominating right now are all wrestlers. They know how to grapple with other guys. They have a really good feel for their body, so that said, they really only have to transition to jiu-jitsu and striking. So, and wrestling is just a huge aspect of MMA. I haven't really thought about going into the whole MMA
You'd
scene,
have to work on some of your striking and probably getting comfortable on your back too, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
So, other than MMA, obviously, it's probably one of the most grueling sports. You have to have great strength. You have to have great speed and quickness. You have to have great stamina and great body coordination and balance. So, why those people who aren't out there, they're not watching wrestling, why should, tell the person out there watching TV, why should they become a wrestling fan?
Yeah, so wrestling, it's just, there's so much glory in wrestling. Every time you win, you're the one who did it. It's not your team. It's not a different person on the field. It's just you and another guy on the mat. So, I just enjoy not just winning, but competing against someone else and knowing that it's just me doing all the work.
And I truly think that that's the true definition of what sport is one-on-one, going at it and battling. So this is my favorite part of the segment, Anthony, so we can go ahead and take it nice and easy. We're going to do the first thing that comes to your mind, speed round of questions, okay? You good with that?
Yeah.
All right. First thing we got, okay, your favorite sport other than wrestling?
We'll go football.
Workout song of choice. You can have multiple.
We'll go Run This Town by Jay-Z.
Poncheros or Chipotle?
Poncheros.
What was the first game console you played?
PS2.
For those oldies out there,
yeah.
PS2. Favorite weight class to watch other than 170 and why?
I like watching 106. It's really, really high pace.
High pace, yep. Okay, your favorite sports movie? Get you pumped up.
I like watching The Blind Side.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Are you an old school hip hop or a new school hip hop guy?
I like old school.
What's your go-to food during cutting season? What's that cutting season snack?
I'd have to say I eat a lot of Cliff Bars, but I don't cut a lot of weight, so
One person, dead or alive, you'd eat lunch with?
We'll go Elvis Presley.
Good answer. And then for you, what will make this year a success for you on the mat?
I really want to win out from here on and win a state title because I wasn't able to do that last year. I've been really putting my eyes on the state title. So.
Hey, well, listen, Anthony, best of luck to you moving forward, and take care of yourself the rest of the season, and good luck. We'll be keeping a close eye on you. Coming up next on CISN TV, Javier will sit down and talk health and fitness this week.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we've got it all.
Year-end closeout event at Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee means employee pricing for everyone. Buy like a Chevy employee in Waukee. Employee pricing on all 2018s. 28% off new 18 Silverado 1500 Crew Cabs. 20% off 18 and 19 Sonic and Spark and 18 Impala. Used vehicle buyer on hand, paying top dollar for your trade. Employee pricing for everyone. Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
And we're back. Hey, it's Javier Tool from Toolshed Training, and I'm here with our first segment of your health and fitness tip of the week. And today I have Dr. Melissa Billings from Vision Park Family Eye Care. And I'm telling you right now, sports is ultra competitive. So I'm going to ask you today, what can we give our viewers today to give them the cutting edge on something in sports that can help them? And let's start off with a little bit of hand-eye coordination.
Very good. Well, we prefer to call it eye-hand coordination.
There it is.
But anyway, at Vision Park Family Eye Care, we are proud to be one of the only offices in Central Iowa to offer sports vision training. So sports vision training gives athletes a competitive edge. You can always do physical training to make yourself bigger, faster, and stronger, but by doing vision sports training, what you do is give yourself that competitive edge with faster reaction time, eye-hand coordination, and different things that put you ahead of other athletes.
Okay, perfect. So I have a son, and he plays lacrosse. He also does other different kind of sports. Do you guys generalize the same specific program for one kid, or is it different for every kid that comes in?
It is completely different for everybody. Every sport has different needs, whether it is multiple object tracking. Let's say you're playing basketball, you're having to look at the basketball, but yet track where your other players are at, who you're guarding, or who you're receiving the ball from. Golf is different because you're doing near-far quickness, looking from the pin to the ball to the pin to the ball. Where lacrosse, you're looking at a fast ball moving at a very fast pace. So everything is completely individualized for that particular athlete.
Perfect. All right. So you guys are one of the only clinics in Des Moines that offers this? And with this
We are the only clinic in Des Moines that does that.
Did you guys hear that? They're the only clinic in the Des Moines metro area who offers this. So please give them a call. So let me ask you another question. I know this is getting pretty big across the United States. Are there professional teams that are using this system?
Yes, there is. We are actually one of the offices that uses Synaptic, and this is the same system that's used by not only Major League Baseball, such as Chicago Cubs, New York Yankees, also football teams such as the Pittsburgh Steelers, Detroit Lions, even college teams. So looking at Alabama Crimson Tide, Notre Dame, and even the University of Iowa uses it for their baseball, softball, and football teams.
That's perfect. All right, so we're talking about kiddos, but let's say I'm bringing my golf game. Is there something that you guys could do for me to help my golf game better with my vision?
Absolutely. When you come in, what we'll want to do first is make sure that there's no underlying vision problems, whether it is an eye turn, depth perception being down, vision being down. And so once we get that equalized, what we'll do then is come up with a specialized program for everybody.
Okay. Well, we just wanted to bring you out today because our ultimate goal here on this television, and for my fitness part of it, is to get as much information to ensure that we're giving everyone great content to help them with their sports, their athletic sports. So give me one more thing that you're going to sell me on if I was going to come to you about this vision program.
Let's say you're an athlete wanting to get a scholarship. On paper, stats look exactly the same.
Yep.
However, when we're looking at your visual reaction time, your multiple object tracking, your near-far quickness, that might be the edge for you to actually get that scholarship over somebody else. In fact, Major League Baseball right now, that is one thing that they're looking at, is actually doing all of this particular testing on their prospects to determine whether they're going to be picked or not.
Justin, how much time do I have left? 2 minutes. All right. Show me what these glasses are. You know, we got 2 minutes. Let's utilize our time.
All right, so what I brought today was the synaptic strobe glasses. It might be kind of hard to see, but what they do is actually turn your vision on and off, on and off. So what it does is slows down the game so that you're seeing the whole entire field at once to really hone in on what you're looking at. Okay, we can make the speed. Yeah, so if you look in front of there, do you see how it kind of shuts your vision off, turns it back on? Very good. So your brain is having to fill in all of the blanks there. First thing that happens when you're an athlete and you're exhausted, you're playing softball in a 100-degree day, is your visual abilities are going to go down before your body fatigues. So if you are able to control that and work through that, you're going to have an edge over somebody else on the field.
That's perfect. Now, if you have that athlete and you guys are looking to go to the next level, make sure you guys stop over and see Dr. Melissa Billings over at Vision Park Family Eye Care in Urbandale and West Des Moines. You guys have two
We have
places.
2 locations.
And we're specializing in that sports vision training. I want to thank you for coming out today. I want to thank you guys for looking at our first segment of our Fit Tip of the Week. Next up is Dan Holmes from Ankeny, what is it? Fanatic. There it is, the Ankeny Fanatic. And he'll be interviewing Jolie Winters. So thank you guys. We'll see you soon.
Mid-American Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to This Week on CISN.TV. We are coming to you here from Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny. I am Dan Holm with Ankeny Fanatic, sitting in on this segment, and our special guest right now was a 3-time All-American for the Creighton volleyball team. She was the Big East Player of the Year and the Big East Tournament MVP. She's Jaylee Winters. Jaylee, thanks for coming in. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, you bet. Well, you recently completed a great career. You set more than 90 school records. Your team has won 5 straight Big East regular season titles and tournament crowns. You know, did you envision having this kind of success when you went there?
Honestly, no. It's been more than anything I could have imagined, and it's been an awesome ride.
Well, did it take longer though for you to succeed? You know, when you got there, I mean, you had success right away. I mean, were you surprised at how quickly it came?
Honestly, yeah. You know, I just wanted to play. I wanted to start. You know, the accolades just came. You know, you just work hard and you just see what happens. So.
Well, you had a great high school career as well, of course, at Ankeny Centennial, where you led the Jaguars to a state title. You know, do you think playing for Centennial and Coach Jessica Reinhardt, did that help prepare you for that next level?
Oh, yeah. Jess is the best, and she's actually a lot like my college coach now, so that prepared me well. You know, she's not a yeller. She's just a great person and someone you want to work hard for.
Well, during your career there at Creighton, I know you guys went to an Elite Eight. You went to a Sweet 16. You know, you didn't quite make it to a Final Four. But I know you did get a chance to go to a couple of Final Fours, you know, as a fan kind of. You went up there last weekend. You received an All-American award. You know, what was the highlight of the weekend for you?
For me, it was just meeting all the girls and seeing a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a while that I played with in the past. It's just such a great group of girls. Obviously very talented, but amazing people.
Well, of course, your in-state rival, Nebraska, was playing for the championship. Was it kind of hard to watch, you know, Nebraska playing and not you guys?
You know, a little bit, but they're an incredible team. You know, we lost them earlier this season, and we knew how much potential they had to go that far, so it was really cool to see them make it there.
Well, I know you told me earlier today when we recorded a podcast for Ankeny Fanatic that the fact that you guys lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament gave you a chance to get ready for your professional career. So what's that process been like?
Yeah, so we lost in the round of 32, and now it's I got to start a week earlier. I just signed with an agent about 2 weeks ago now, and now he's pretty much just looking at teams for me, letting me know what's out there, and we're just going through it together and figuring out what the best fit for me is.
So how long do you think this will take, before you figure out where it is you are going to play?
Yeah, it could be anywhere from in 2 weeks to 5 weeks. So really it's just a waiting game and waiting to find that perfect fit.
Well, I know you've already taken a couple of trips to Europe in the past on some volleyball trips. What were those experiences like for you?
Honestly, so amazing. I love Europe. It's a beautiful place. So many amazing countries with such amazing histories. So I'm excited to live there and get to know the country better, whatever country I end up in.
Do you have some favorite places over there to visit?
Let's see. I loved Slovenia. Beautiful place, lots of greenery, but hoping to end up in Germany or France.
Now, what's the level of volleyball like over there? I mean, is this the best volleyball in the world?
It's pretty good. I'd say the best volleyball is in Italy, the A1 league. There's some really good volleyball in Russia as well, South Korea. So, yeah, there's a lot of good volleyball there, just like there is here at the D1 level.
I don't want to get too personal, but can you make a living playing volleyball over there, or do you have to probably have some other job along with it? Or
you can make a living there, but I'll be home in the summers, so hopefully I'll find some stuff to do when I'm around here.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your future beyond volleyball. Tell us what your major was in college and what you're looking to do eventually.
Yeah, my major in college was business intelligence and analytics, and I just graduated last Tuesday. So I really like to code, and I know a couple programming languages, so hoping to do something with database.
All right. Well, let's go back to your college career a little bit. Like I mentioned, you guys won 5 straight Big East, regular season titles and tournament crowns. What's your favorite memory of your college career, would you say?
Gosh, the one memory that sticks out the most is when we beat Kansas my sophomore year to make it to the Sweet 16. It was such a fun game, a 5-setter, went to extra points, so...
Well, of course, this year I know you guys, were hoping to make it to the Final Four, but you did lose in the second round to Washington. They had a really good team, and they had a really big block, didn't they?
Yeah, a huge block. They're not even just their block. Their defenders were amazing, and, yeah, they played their hardest and had a great fight.
Well, I know we talked about this earlier today, but after that match, you were quoted as saying that if the worst thing that ever happens in your life is you lose in the round of 32, you've had a pretty good life. So it seemed to me like you kind of put that loss behind you right away, didn't you?
Yeah, I've grown a lot of crate in my last 4 years. I can't say I would have had that answer if I was, a freshman, 18 years old. But, you just got to keep going. Losses happen, bad things happen in life, and really if that is the worst thing that ever happened to me, then it really has been a good life. It's one loss. I wish I would have played an extra weekend or two. But, it is what it is, and there's just been so many great things that have come out of my entire career that I can't be mad about one loss.
Well, I know you've had a great 3.5 years at Creighton, but you told me earlier today that you're really anxious to get on to the next part of your life, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It's so hard to just wait and see where I'm going to end up. I'm excited to just know and just to get going and to play volleyball again.
All right, Jaylee. Well, best of luck to you. Thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. You may have noticed it's starting to get cold outside, and if you're like a lot of folks, that old fireplace in your house isn't doing you much good. You need to replace that thing with a high-efficient gas fireplace from Heat & Glow. We're going to come in, take your old wood or gas fireplace out. We're going to replace it with a warm, cozy, high-efficient, easy-to-use fireplace from Heat & Glow. It'll be the best thing you ever did to your house. Come see us today. because nothing's
Closeout event at Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee means employee pricing for everyone. Buy like a Chevy employee in Waukee. Employee pricing on all 2018s. 28% off new 18 Silverado 1500 Crew Cabs. 20% off 18 and 19 Sonic and Spark and 18 Impala. Used vehicle buyer on hand, paying top dollar for your trade. Employee pricing for everyone. Schottenkirk Chevrolet Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Welcome back to This Week on CISN.TV. I'm Jimmy Olsen with Dar Danielson. And Dar, what are the rankings? How are things stacking up right now for girls and boys basketball?
Well, the rankings for the girls will change tomorrow, but
What do we have right now then?
What we have right now in Class 5A, City Eye started out last Thursday as number 1. Valley was number 2, but of course Valley lost then to Waukee. Johnston is number 3. They won, I believe, this week. Rapids Prairie 9. Centennial is 10, but Centennial beat Dowling, so I'm assuming that means they'll move ahead of Dowling in the rankings. We'll see there. And
right, because that was just a game that was last night, and like you said, they come out tomorrow.
And then Cedar Rapids, Washington. Or where did I stop? Okay, 10 was Centennial. Cedar Rapids Wash is 11. 12 was Pleasant Valley. 13 was Des Moines East. 14 was Ames, and 15 is Bettendorf. Ankeny dropped out last week, but again, they'll reset them depending on what we had, you know. And those top 5 have shifted around a little bit because, you know, you look at it, but no team's really with more than well, that was what Valley's second loss, and you know, all those teams are hanging right in there, and it's a cliche, but on any night, depending on how it goes, you know, Valley won a close one with Dowling. They won, you know, and it was close with Centennial till the end when Centennial fouled. So, you know, and then Johnson is a team that's coming on, and Centennial's been playing better lately. Then you can never count Dowling Catholic out either. We talked about that too. So.
Right, absolutely, as we discussed earlier. And, of course, like you said, the girls' rankings are going to come out tomorrow. So just kind of looking ahead of, you know, what we think could happen after what just happened this past week. So with the girls there now, what are the boys looking like?
Well, the boys' rankings are Waukee number 1. They had that 1-point win over Valley where really they had it down to where Valley would have needed to be fouled on a 3-point shot at the end and hit the free throw to tie it to go to overtime. But that was a good back-and-forth game. Waukee had built a 15-point lead, and then as you saw right here on CISN.TV, by the way, Valley came roaring back, got it down. But anyway, so Waukee number 1, North Scott of Eldridge over at Eastern Iowa number 2, Ankeny number 3, Iowa City West at number 5, and back to Ankeny. They're again one of those schools that they've quietly kind of having a good season. They're doing well here, so we got to keep an eye on them.
Right.
Then Bettendorf number 6, Sioux City East number 7, Valley 1-point loss. They lost their opening game of the year to I think it was it Hoover? Then Cedar Falls number 9, and Cedar Rapids Prairie is number 10. And looking at it in the boys' side, Hoover's lost a couple games. North now a couple games. Those are a couple teams, too, that'll probably be right up in the mix. Ames is 6-1. They're not in the poll, but I think, you know, they're right in there here in Central Iowa. So there's a lot of those teams. And when you're just looking at a top 10, you could almost do a 15 like the girls do,
right?
You know, to kind of get a look at it. Because obviously Hoover would probably be right in there. Ames right in there, you know, with it. So, and I think Ankeny did lose a game there. So, you know, it's all pretty tight in the boys' side of it, too.
Every game can change everything, and it could change it pretty severely depending on how everybody falls and how everybody plays every week.
Yeah, and it depends on how big a loss it is or how, in the rankings there. So we'll see how that all plays out with it. And then we talked about the wrestling rankings, and I can mention those again. Southeast Polk at number 1, Waverly Shell Rock 2, Fort Dodge at 3, Waukee at 4, Valley 5, Centennial at 6, Mason City at 7, Bettendorf at 8, North Scott at 9, and Linn-Mar at 10. And, of course, that happened, and then there's been more duels, and then we'll have tomorrow, Valley, Waukees at Valley, right here on CISN.TV. In the wrestling, on Friday, it's Southeast Polk at Waukee. That's going to be a good matchup there. The girls matchup, the boys we talked about at Southeast Polk, they're rebuilding and a new coach and a young team. So, but you never know. They could come in and Waukee isn't ready for them, upset them. But anyway, when you look at it there. But that Southeast Polk Waukee girls game Friday night should be a good one.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And again, most of the games that we're talking about, you can always see them right here on CISN.TV. We're at Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Ora Labor Road. I'm Jimmy Olsen with Dar Danielson. Still, we've got more to come. We're going to talk about kind of like a year in review here in just a little bit to kind of like go over what 2018 was like, this being our last show of the year before we bring in the new year. And then also just kind of see what we have coming up, 4 games that you can also catch right here on CISN.TV. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on this week on CISN.TV from Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Ora Labor. I'm Jimmy Olsen.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
Mid-American Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Welcome back to Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill. This week on CISN.TV, I'm Jimmy Olsen with Dar Danielson. And as we were just mentioning, 2018 in review. I mean, we have so much stuff happening on CISN.TV throughout the entire year. Give us a rundown, Dar.
Well, and yeah, I know.
Can you remember? I mean, it's like, where did the year go?
Yeah, and we expanded it, and it's kind of like last night we didn't have a game. I didn't have a game. We had the Ankeny game, but I'm like sitting there, what do I do with myself, for a chance? So I watch a little bit of the game on CISN.TV and do some other stuff. But, yeah, we kind of always start the year in March with the basketball tournament, and we'll be heading into, is it year 6 now on that maybe?
Right.
We've done we know all the, the quarterfinals up through the semifinals on CISN.TV. And then we'll be heading into our third year of soccer coverage of the girls' state tournament.
Yep.
And
I remember doing that. A nice warm day sitting on top of a roof.
Yeah. Well, the first year was really super hot. Last year was a little better for, but going into these places, it's always new when you go the first time you're broadcasting there because we're heavily dependent, on getting our internet signal and everything set up and then the heat. And so, but soccer, and we expanded that. And then speaking of hot, Fort Dodge.
Right.
And it's
for
always
softball,
in
yes.
July,
yes.
and Fort Dodge is always warm. And we did softball up there. We did couple baseball. I think we did a couple baseball games before we did the softball, just to kind of get ramped up a little bit. We did softball, and then let's see, after softball, then we go into August, and what happened? Oh, yeah, that big sport, football. Where
That's
we do,
right. That's right. Which, like you
football.
said, with the expansion, I mean, this year we added Ankeny with the
the
Ankeny Hawks and the Ankeny Centennial.
Paul and the crew over there doing
That's right.
Ankeny, and that was a big addition. We appreciate those guys joining up with us, and then doing Waukee, and then we done some Southeast Polk, and then Valley Dowling, and a lot of good matchups there in football. And we also, I forgot, I skipped over the Des Moines Menace in the summer. We did them this summer. We did the high school boys and girls all-star soccer matches there.
Which the Menace did very well this past summer, actually, going back, making it into the playoffs, because I remember adding a couple games into what we were doing for the season.
Yeah, with the new coach. But their coach, I think, is, if I remember right, he's leaving, right?
Right,
They're gonna have
and
a
they
new
got a
coach
new one
there
coming in, for
in.
the next
So
season.
that's always fun to do the Menace. So then we go ahead to football, and just see some of the best athletes in the state. And, of course, we all thought Dowling, they took a couple losses there. And we think, well, gee, this could be the year. Then we saw them come on in the playoffs. And, playoff football. First time ever we streamed playoff football with a little bit of the rule change there through the association. So we did some playoff games in football, which was a first for us. So always kind of expanding the programming and trying to bring it to the people to see and for free.
Right, absolutely. That's the key with what we do at CISN.TV with bringing the high school sports so you can watch it, and you can watch it for free, or even if you're at the game. I mean, that's what I know a lot of the parents do. They're at the game, they're watching it live, but then they can go back and watch it later.
Well, the coaches won't admit it, but I'm sure several of them have to tell their players, put the phone down. You can't watch DAR during the game while you're playing in, And I know it's kind of created a new rule.
Wait, did I wear my boots
there,
tonight? Hang on.
But it's fun, and that brings up another thing. Today is National Signing Day for football, and some of these athletes that we get to watch here, and then they go on to play football, and advance, and it's just kind of fun seeing them, in high school, and then they go. I think Jake Rumsberg is one of them I can think of right off the top of my head. I don't want to start mentioning everybody because I'll forget.
Well, there's so many. I mean,
there's so many of them that sign, and then same with basketball. But it's fun. You get to do their games here and then see them go on. And we'll mention Alan Lazard just signed with the Packers. He's another Central Iowa player. A star who now is going to get his chance. But it's really fun and talking with the coaches and throughout the year. So we've done a lot of good things here, expanded our programming, and as you know, and I know it's not easy sometimes. You get to a new site, and you got to figure out what angle are we going to do. What first year from softball was a little different. We shot it different, and then the second year we changed things around, and we're trying to improve always. And the Girls Association has been great partners with working on those things. Basketball is fun in Wells Fargo because it's a more controlled environment.
Right. No, absolutely.
And do it there. But
and something you mentioned earlier is being able to follow the kids as they go up, and then see them when they get signed, what college they're going to go to. I mean, we see that with football. We see that with the softball. We see that with volleyball. So
basketball,
we're really able, and all the way through as we're doing all the different sports, and even with soccer when we do the playoffs and things like that. It's always fun watching all that.
And you can always, sometimes people, I know everybody likes watching it live, but you can always go back and rewatch it too.
Absolutely.
That's one thing we forget to mention on CISN.TV. So, be looking at our website, look on Twitter, and we'll put out where we're at. I know starting the new year, I think on the 4th of February, it's Fort Dodge at Waukee is our first basketball game coming back. So
right. Well, I was going to say, if you haven't liked us on Facebook, be sure to do that. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, you want to do that as well. That way, whenever we have a game, you're going to get a little notification so you know to tune in and see what's going on. So as we're going, that's a great segue. What do we have? I mean, we've got a couple games still coming up this week to wrap out 2018.
The wrestling match tomorrow night, Waukee at Valley. And that'll be here on CISN.TV. Pat Curtis does a great job with the wrestling on that. And, he's done Football Valley this year. And then Friday night, another a good girls matchup in basketball rated teams, Southeast Polk at Waukee. And with the way the ratings, can't think of it off the top of my head, but the way that fell, I'm sure Waukee's going to move up, and Southeast Polk is going to move up too in those ratings. And
when they get released tomorrow,
yeah,
so.
It might be a top 5 matchup we're talking about by that time. We'll see.
Right.
And so that'll be a good one. with that on Friday night. So
that kind of gets us through 2018. Just kind of maybe a preview of what we have when we roll into the beginning of 2019.
Yep, and we get into that, and then we'll have basketball throughout the year. And do we have more wrestling coming up, Pete? Yeah, tomorrow night, but after that in the new year? Yes, we will. Yeah, I know. Couple swim meets coming up. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Right. We're adding regional wrestling this year, too.
That's right, we are. Speaking of swim meets, I actually got to do my very first one. It was like last year. That was interesting when I did that. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys, a lot of things have opened up some doors, and it's been a lot of fun. 2018, great year. Looking forward to 2019 with the launch of the new show that we have right here, that you can join us every Wednesday night at Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Ore Labor Road. So, you know what? That's going to wrap things up for 2018. So, Dar, you have a Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, we've learned a lot, done a lot of new things. Hopefully, brought some new sports views to people, and look forward to doing more of that in the new year.
Oh, we were just told major announcement coming up right after the first of the year. So again, if you haven't liked us on Facebook, do that. If you haven't not followed us on Twitter, do that as well.
Is that we're going to rename it the Dar Network? Is that what it happened?
That's exactly what we're not going to do. So be right back here after the first of the year. You guys have a great new year, and we will see you back. Again, we're taking a couple weeks off, so we'll be back again here January 9th. That'll be our first Wednesday back. Thunderhead Sports Bar and Grill in Ankeny on Ore Labor Road. For Dar Danielson and the rest of the crew tonight, I'm Jimmy Olsen. For this week on CISN.TV, Happy New Year.